Good morning everybody and welcome back to episode 103 of Enter Crypto, where twice a day I keep you informed and fully up to date on all things crypto. If you're interested in that, then subscribe to the channel. I put out a new video every 12 hours. So the story of the morning today is from CNBC's tech section, and it's an article written by Rohan Goswami, and it's titled "Crypto Firms Genesis and Gemini Charged by SEC with Selling Unregistered Securities." This is more bad news, unfortunately. Let's get straight into it. So the key points are: the SEC alleged in a complaint that crypto firms Gemini and Genesis offered and sold unregistered securities. So this is the accusation. It's the latest in a series of recent enforcement actions initiated by SEC Gary Gensler since the collapse of FTX in November. Gemini, founded by the Winklevoss twins, and Genesis, owned by Barry Silbert's DCG, have been in a battle over the fate of $900 million worth of customer funds. Right, let's start then. So, the SEC on Thursday charged crypto firms Genesis and Gemini with allegedly selling unregistered securities in connection with a high-yield product offered to depositors. Gemini, a crypto exchange, and Genesis, a crypto lender, partnered in February 21 on a Gemini product called Earn, which touted yields of up to 8% for customers. According to the SEC, Genesis loaned Gemini users his crypto and sent a portion of the profits back to Gemini, which then deducted an agent fee, sometimes over 4%, and returned the remaining profit to its users. Genesis should have registered that product as a securities offering, SEC officials said in a complaint filed in Manhattan federal court. These guys are going to be in trouble here. Today's charges build on previous actions to make clear to the marketplace and the investing public that crypto lending platforms and other intermediaries need to comply with our time-tested securities laws, the SEC chair, Gary Gensler, said in a statement. Gemini's Earn program, supported by Genesis lending activities, met the SEC's definition by including both an investment contract and a note. SEC officials said those two features are part of how the SEC assesses whether an offering is a security. The SEC says the Earn program netted the companies billions of dollars in crypto assets. The agency is seeking permanent injunctive relief, disgorgement and civil penalties against both Genesis and Gemini, and noted that investigations into other securities law violations and into other entities and persons relating to the alleged misconduct are ongoing. Now, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if there are multiple agencies in the US working on this now, just because the SEC, you have to remember that the SEC can only bring civil cases to court. It cannot bring criminal cases, but they do work with the Department of Justice, the FBI, the fraud, I forgot the name of it now, but the financial crime organizations there. So they all talk with each other. So just because they're saying they've come out in the press and said this, it doesn't mean that this is everything that's going on. There can be more, and I've seen it many times where there's more going on, and later it finds out that criminal charges are brought against CEOs or individuals related to that company, whether it be financial officers or other executives, basically. So the two where was we up to? So the two firms have been engaged in a high-profile battle over $900 million in customer assets that Gemini entrusted to Genesis as part of the Earn program, which was shuttered this week. Genesis suspended withdrawals after the failure of FTX in November caused a rush for the exits across the crypto universe, and the firm has yet to allow Earn customers to pull their funds. The US retail investors who participated in the Gemini Earn program have suffered significant harm. The SEC complaint read, more than 340,000 investors have been affected by the freeze. In the first 3 months of 2022, Gemini made around $2.7 million in agent fees off Earn. The SEC complaint alleges Genesis would use Gemini users' assets for institutional lending or as collateral for Genesis' own borrowing, the agency said. So this is a classic case, what we're seeing now, where basically SBF's behaviour kicked off this sort of doing what you want with users' funds, which is totally illegal, totally not allowed. And it seems now that everybody's been doing it. They've all been at it. The temptation to just to just not leave users' funds where they should be, which is just in their accounts, ready for withdrawal. The temptation to use that money and try and get yield or try and earn money on it in whatever, whether that be agency fees, like it is in this, or whether it be other yield by using that money to, in the case of Alameda with SBF, where they go long or go short, use it as a trading. It's just so tempting for them, and because of the lack of regulation, or I think it's what they think is the lack of regulation in this case. They've now got themselves in hot water, because this is a little bit different, because these are really like quite heavily regulated companies, these two. So it's not really like FTX, where it's kind of in the Bahamas, and it's an international company first. I know they had FTX US as well, but they actually it was a global company. And although this is kind of a global company, it's more based sort of locally based, and so they're in. I think this is going to come to criminal charges shortly, but we'll see. I mean, a week ago, or even as far as 2 weeks ago, I think I was telling you to take your money off exchanges, take your money off Genesis and Gemini if you've got money, if you've got funds there, because not because I know anything that anybody else doesn't know. I don't. It's because I'm aware of what I don't know is why I take my money off these exchanges. The fact that you don't know what's going on behind the scenes should be enough for you to take it off. So it's not because anyone, because I'm privy to any special information or anything, because I'm obviously not. So, and the same applies to everything. Just because Genesis and Gemini are in the news today, Binance could be in the news tomorrow. So take your funds, take your crypto, and self-custody it. Don't leave it on exchanges. It's a lose-lose. Only you can lose out on that. They can't. So get it off. Just use the exchange for what it is and exchange your crypto, and then get off it. Over the same period, Genesis paid out $166.2 million in interest to clients, including Gemini on $170 million of interest income, the SEC said. They're the Winklevoss twins. Genesis institutional borrowers included Three Arrows Capital and SBF's Alameda Research, both now bankrupt. I've got a funny feeling we're going to be seeing Chapter 11 bankruptcies from these two as well. Representatives from Gemini and Genesis parent DCG declined to comment. Gemini, which was founded in 2015 by Bitcoin advocates Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, has an extensive exchange business that, while beleaguered, could possibly weather an enforcement action. In a tweet, Tyler Winklevoss said Gemini is working hard to recover funds and called the SEC's action totally counterproductive. It's disappointing that the SEC chose to file an action today, as Gemini and other creditors are working hard together to recover funds. This action does nothing to further our efforts and help earn users get their assets back. Their behaviour is totally counterproductive. I mean, come on, you can't really to say that to comment on their behaviour. I mean, look at what they've been doing here. It's laughable. I mean, if it didn't involve people losing money, it would be like something out of a comedy. But unfortunately, it's sort of a tragedy comedy. But Genesis' future is more uncertain because the business is heavily focused on lending out customer crypto and has already engaged restructuring advisors. The crypto lender is part of DCG, the conglomerate controlled by Barry Silbert. SEC officials said the possibility of a DCG or Genesis bankruptcy had no bearing on deciding whether to pursue a charge. It's the latest in a series of recent crypto enforcement actions led by Gensler after the collapse of FTX. Bankman-Fried's crypto exchange late last year. Gensler was roundly criticised on social media and by lawmakers for the SEC's failure to impose safeguards on the nascent crypto industry. Gensler's SEC and the CFTC, chaired by Rustin Benham, are the two regulators that oversee crypto activity in the US. Both agencies filed complaints against SBF, but the SEC has of late ramped up the pace and the scope of enforcement actions. The SEC brought a similar action against now bankrupt crypto lender BlockFi and settled last year. Earlier this month, Coinbase settled with New York state regulators over historically inadequate Know Your Customer protocols, or KYC protocols. Since SBF was indicted on federal and fraud charges in December, the SEC has filed 5 crypto-related enforcement actions. So, moral of the story is the same as always, guys. Take your money off the exchanges. These exchanges go down, make sure that you do not go down with them. So that's what I've got for you this morning. Remember, everybody, to please subscribe to the channel. It helps me with the algorithm. Join my team and I'll keep you updated on all things crypto every 12 hours. Don't forget to smash that like button if you feel you got value from this video. I'll see you all in 12 hours time.